morning, good afternoon, good evening, good luck sleeping. You're watching PNT. I'm your host, stranger than you can imagine. Up front this week, according to articles online, the origins of a tiny alien mummy have finally been found. The 6-inch mummy, nicknamed Awry, was found in 2003 near an abandoned town in Chile's Atacama Desert. Purchased in 2012 by Spanish businessman Ramon Navia Osorio, Awry gained notoriety for her size and alien appearance that only increased when Dr. Stephen Greer of the Disclosure Project used X-rays and CT scans to analyze her diminutive skeleton. Greer also provided samples of Awry's DNA to Dr. Gary Nolan of Stanford University for testing, with the sequencing results indicating that the genetic material was human, although failing to explain the developed bone structure and small size of the figure. Puzzled by these genetic anomalies, Nolan brought in a second team from the University of California, San Francisco to help analyze Awry's DNA genome. According to the new results, the team found mutations present in 7 genes involved in human growth. Dr. Nolan believes these mutations to be the cause of Awry's size and apparently mature bone growth. Far from being of extraterrestrial nature, Nolan believes the evidence clearly indicates Awry to be a human fetus who either died during or shortly after birth and is now calling for the child's remains to be returned to Chile. Dr. Stephen Greer has a different opinion of the new DNA testing results, however, stating, "We don't know what it is, but it most certainly is not a deformed human." For our part, while PNT admires Dr. Greer's spirit, we would remind him that pursuit of the truth requires not only the determination to find it, but also the open-mindedness to accept it once found. From alien infants to acupuncture accidents, our next story proves that lack of common sense can leave a lasting and fatal sting. According to online sources, a Spanish woman died recently due to an allergic reaction caused by her acupuncture treatment, which sounds slightly unusual until you realize that instead of needles, this particular treatment uses bees, more particularly their stings. Termed apitherapy by practitioners and patients, the therapy consists of using the stings from live bees to treat medical conditions ranging from muscle spasms, arthritis, and stress. Essentially a logical extension on the homeopathic benefits of honey, patients will be stung multiple times during each session. While there is little published research to support the efficacy of using bee venom to treat musculoskeletal issues, the practice is actually thousands of years old and can be traced to such ancient cultures such as China, Greece, and Egypt. While in modern times, apitherapy is primarily practiced in Asia, modern celebrities such as Gwyneth Paltrow have advocated and introduced the technique to the West. This treatment can actually be extremely dangerous or even fatal if the patient is sensitive to bee venom, triggering a condition called anaphylactic shock, which is an intense allergic reaction that causes the blood pressure to drop and the tongue and throat to swell, cutting off the supply of air and suffocating the victim. Despite apparently not being sensitive to bee venom in the past, receiving multiple treatments over the course of 2 years, the unidentified woman began to wheeze and then lost consciousness after her most recent session. After being transported to a local hospital, she was diagnosed with a massive stroke, slipping into a coma before passing away several weeks later. Allergist Dr. Andrew Murphy reported that the likeliest explanation for the death is that the woman had built up a sensitivity to honeybee venom over time before that one last sting was enough to trigger a fatal reaction. As though to add insult to injury, the clinic where the accident happened did not have epinephrine or adrenaline, a commonly used treatment for anaphylactic shock, on hand in order to treat her. For our final story in our weekly roundup of the weird, PNT is pleased to bring you a fresh report taken from the MUFON database and brought to our attention by faithful viewer Turtle M. The footage, taken on March the 3rd in Colorado Springs, Colorado, appears to show a series of strange orbs hovering over the resort where the witness was vacationing. Let's have a look at the footage and our analysis.
This light out here over the horizon, there was two lights and then it turned into one, and then it keeps fading out, and then it comes back on. It's flickering. It's not moving. It stays in the same spot, and it looks like it's like orange. It looks like fire is what it looks like. Oh, there's a second one just came on. You see that? I have no idea what that is. But they're getting brighter. And one just flickered out again. Now it just came on above it, the one that flickered. That is really weird. So the light was below it, and if the lower one flickered out, and then the light came back on above it. Now there's a third one that just came on. Bottom one just flickered back off again. And they're not moving, so that's the weirdest damn thing. That. There's no airplanes in the sky. Like I said, they're not moving. Okay, now.
So what were the objects seen here hovering over the Cheyenne Mountain Resort in Colorado Springs, Colorado earlier this month? Well, not to state the obvious, but we think we can rule out birds, clouds, drones, aircraft, and balloons. To be perfectly honest, flares are the first thought that leapt to mind, but there are several curious features seen in the video that might bring this into question. First, and the most telling indicator, is the amount of time each orb is seen in the sky before vanishing. On a hunch, PNT timed the duration of each light seen, and with the exception of the first and fifth orbs, each lasted for precisely 1 minute, 11 seconds. Seeking to confirm the flare hypothesis, PNT did some research on both civilian and military aerial flares and discovered something interesting. While we cannot state with 100% certainty that they do not exist, we found that the longest burn duration available online for military-grade aerial flares was no greater than 40 seconds. 31 seconds too short to match the objects seen here. Commercial flare burn duration was even worse, with 7 seconds being the longest available duration that we found. Now, the objects appear and vanish in a sequential order. This is indicative of repeated timed firings or deployments. Again, this would seem to indicate a terrestrial rather than an extraterrestrial origin. As covered in our episodes on the recent Pueblo UFO wave, we know that Colorado Springs is a hotbed of military activity with NORAD, Strategic Air Command, Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and the Air Force Academy making it their home. Seeking further confirmation, PNT matched the features seen in the video, such as streets, buildings, and the lake with Google Maps to determine the precise line of sight recorded in the footage. What we discovered confirmed our hypothesis of military activity. Fort Carson lies less than 4 miles away from the witness location and is on the same direct line of sight to the hotel. As stated, while PNT could not find flares available online that had a burn duration of greater than 40 seconds, it is certainly well within the realm of possibility that flares of this type exist and are in regular use by the military. The objects do appear to exhibit a small amount of drift from time to time, and there appears to be a column of smoke from one of the objects, although this could merely be subjective. Without better footage, we cannot confirm. While officials at Fort Carson did not return our inquiries as to any military maneuvers on the night in question, we feel, given the precisely timed duration of the objects, the direct line of sight to Fort Carson, and the almost identical appearance of the objects to the illumination flares seen here being deployed by a mortar crew, conclusively shines a light on the true cause of this sighting. But whether this was truly a military exercise caught on tape by a mystified vacationer, or something beyond our understanding, we'll leave up to our faithful viewers to decide. Sound off in the comments section below with your thoughts. That's it for this time, faithful viewers. Be sure to click like, share, and hit the bell icon to be notified when we upload your next portion of the Paranormal. I'm your host, reminding you to keep an open mind, because a closed one shuts out the truth.